What if the most famous murder in English history wasn't a murder at all? What if it was a ghost story? A carefully constructed lie designed to hide a deeper, more dangerous truth. In the first episode, we unsealed the fate of the princes in the Tower by proving that Sir James Tyrrell's official confession was a total fabrication. We found that the Tudor dynasty built its legitimacy on a carefully crafted falsehood. Now, in episode 2 of this 4-part gentle mystery series, we leave the dusty archives of Westminster Palace and follow a new trail of clues. Join me as we uncover physical artifacts, a golden chain and a royal signet ring that should not exist. These objects, hidden for over 30 years, provide irrefutable proof that the princes survived. But who helped them escape? And why were these secrets so carefully preserved? The truth is a debt that must be paid. Let's continue our quiet investigation. You wake up, not with a sense of dread, but with a new and powerful purpose. The morning bells ring in the cool, damp air of 1516 London. Their chimes a call to a different kind of duty now. The terrifying secret you uncovered yesterday, the massive historical forgery that proved the princes were not killed in the Tower, as the official story claims, has left you restless but also strangely invigorated. Your thoughts are no longer a whirlwind of fear, but a quiet, focused determination. You are no longer just a clerk. You are a detective, and your new investigation begins with a single, small, almost forgotten detail, the mention of a golden chain in a merchant's will. You recall the words with a sudden, vivid clarity, a golden chain said to have belonged to a young prince. A man of your station would have dismissed such a claim as sentimental exaggeration, but you know better now. You have seen the lie at the heart of the Tudor dynasty, and you know that the truth is often found in the most insignificant places. You rise from your bed, your movements deliberate, your mind already racing with the possibilities. The thought of this one small object, an artifact that should not exist, fills you with a quiet, fierce resolve. You perform your morning ablutions and dress in the simple, familiar clothes of your trade. But today, the act feels different, as if you are preparing for a secret mission. As you make your way through the waking city, the noise and bustle of the streets are a backdrop to the singular focus of your mind. You cross over London Bridge, the cold wind off the Thames chilling your face, and your eyes search the water's surface as if the river itself might hold a clue. You think of the princes, their lives so cruelly and completely erased from the public record. You are now their silent, solitary champion, and your quest for the truth has only just begun. The path to the archives, once a simple commute, now feels like a journey into the heart of a vast and dangerous labyrinth, where every turn could lead you to a new and shocking discovery. You arrive at Westminster Palace and make your way to the archives, your movements filled with a new and quiet urgency. You do not stop to chat with your fellow clerks, nor do you acknowledge the idle gossip of the court. Your mind is on a singular task. You go directly to the section of the archives that holds wills and legal ledgers, the faint smell of old parchment and dust, a familiar and comforting scent. You pull the merchant's will from its designated shelf, a small, unassuming scroll wrapped in a leather tie, and unroll it on your desk. The words are written in a meticulous hand, detailing the man's assets and the distribution of his wealth to his various family members and business partners. You have seen thousands of these documents, but this one now holds a significance that is both terrifying and exhilarating. Your quill is poised, ready to transcribe the key passages, but your mind is already working to piece together a broader picture. You begin the tedious, methodical process of tracing the merchant's connections. You pull ledgers detailing his business transactions, records of his legal disputes, and the wills of his parents and grandparents. You are looking for a pattern, a hint, a connection that might explain why he possessed an artifact that should have been buried with a prince. The morning light filtering through the high window of your study is pale and watery, and the quiet scratching of your quill is the only sound in the room. You find records of the merchant's business dealings with the guilds, a list of his political affiliations, and a note about his staunch loyalty to the Yorkist cause during the Wars of the Roses. He was a man who chose his side carefully, a man who, like so many others, felt that the Tudors' victory was a great injustice. This detail, a small, insignificant piece of a long-dead man's life, sends a thrill of excitement through you. The golden chain was not a random acquisition. It was a secret passed down to a man who, by his very nature, would have been a safe harbor for such a dangerous artifact. You craft the letter to the merchant's grandson with the same care you would apply to a royal writ. The language is formal and polite, requesting a brief meeting to clarify a matter of legal precedent in his grandfather's will. The excuse is flimsy enough that it should not alarm him, but just plausible enough to secure an audience. You seal the missive with your official wax and hand it to a young runner to be delivered to the merchant's home near Cheapside. The waiting is the hardest part. You spend the rest of the day in your study pretending to work, but your mind is consumed by the prospect of this meeting. Your world, once so defined by the safe, predictable routine of the archives, has now expanded into a realm of tangible, living secrets. You are no longer just a spectator to history. You are a part of it, and the thought is both thrilling and terrifying. You wonder what kind of man he is, this merchant who possesses a piece of evidence that could change the course of a dynasty. Is he aware of the significance of the chain, or is it just a sentimental family heirloom? You hope for the latter. A man who knows the truth is a man who might see you as a threat. The fear is a cold, sharp blade at the back of your neck, but your resolve is stronger. The need to see the object, to touch it, to prove its impossible existence, is a driving force that overcomes all fear. The sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the dusty ledgers, and still you wait. Finally, a messenger arrives with a reply. The merchant's grandson agrees to the meeting, inviting you to his home on the morrow. You feel a surge of nervous energy, a sense of having crossed a threshold. The letter is a simple invitation, but you know it is so much more. It is an entry into a world of hidden truths and dangerous secrets, a world that has been patiently waiting for you all these years. The game has begun. Your careful work throughout the morning pays off as you uncover a clear, unambiguous connection. The merchant's will specifies that the golden chain is to be passed to his grandson, a young man named John, who is also a wool merchant. The document is clear and precise, leaving no room for doubt. You cross-reference the name in the guild records and find that John's family too was known for its deep-seated loyalty to the Yorkist cause. They were a family that had flourished under the brief reign of Richard III, and they had been a presence in London's financial and social circles for decades. The lineage is a straight, unwavering line, a connection that links the golden chain to a family who would have had every reason to keep such a precious and dangerous secret. The truth you have discovered is no longer just in the forged words of a royal confession. It is now connected to living, breathing people whose very existence is a testament to the lie at the heart of the Tudor dynasty. This is a chilling realization. This is not a conspiracy of the dead, but one that is still being perpetuated by the living. The families who were loyal to the lost princes have held this secret close for over 30 years. The golden chain is not just an artifact, it is a family relic, a silent symbol of a truth that they have been forced to hide. You know that if you want to understand the full scope of this conspiracy, you must find out what else they know. You cannot simply sit in your study and read old documents. You must go to the source, to the man who now holds the golden chain. You craft a letter to the young merchant, feigning a need to clarify a minor legal detail in his grandfather's will. It is a plausible excuse, a reason to visit his home without arousing suspicion. As you seal the letter with your official wax, you feel a surge of nervous energy. You are stepping out of the safe, quiet world of the archives and into a world of living secrets, a world where the truth is a dangerous commodity. Your journey has now become a dangerous and personal one. The next morning, you leave your humble home and make your way towards Cheapside, the prosperous heart of London's mercantile world. The streets here are wider, cleaner, and filled with the rich smells of spices, fine leather, and imported wines. The homes are larger and more well-maintained, their timber frames freshly painted, their windows clean. You feel a sudden, acute awareness of your own simple clothes and worn boots, a stark contrast to the opulence of the world you are entering. You pass by shops displaying bolts of imported silk and fine Flemish tapestries, and you feel as if you are walking through a different city entirely. The merchant's home is a large, imposing timber-framed building with an elaborate carving of a wool sack over the doorway, a testament to the family's wealth. A servant in clean livery greets you at the door and leads you through a hall filled with expensive furniture and tapestries depicting scenes of hunting and battle. The air is warm and smells of beeswax and fresh lavender, a sharp contrast to the damp, musty smell of the archives. You are led to a small private parlor where the merchant's grandson, a man no older than yourself, rises to greet you. His name is Master Thomas, and he is a man of a comfortable yet serious bearing. He is dressed in fine woolen hose and a clean tunic, but his hands are the hands of a man who works, a man who built his wealth with his own 2 hands. You are offered a small cup of spiced wine. A gesture of politeness you accept with a quiet nod. You sit across from him, the small, polite talk of the weather and the day's court proceedings, a flimsy cover for your true purpose. You feel a growing tension in your chest, the moment of truth drawing ever closer, and you know you must choose your words with care. He is a man who is clearly proud of his family's history, and you sense that this pride is the key to unlocking the truth you have come for. You begin your inquiry with a few questions about the legal precedent you had feigned, discussing the finer points of a land transfer and the wording of a specific clause. Master Thomas answers your questions with a polite but bored detachment, his attention already beginning to wander. You realize you must change the subject and do so quickly before your flimsy excuse is exhausted. You subtly turn the conversation towards his grandfather, complimenting the elegance of the will and the generosity of its bequests. The merchant's face lights up with a quiet pride. My grandfather was a great man, he says, a man of both great wealth and great taste. This is the opening you were looking for. I noticed his will mentioned several personal effects, Master Thomas. He seems to have been a collector of curiosities, you say, your tone light and conversational, as if this is nothing more than idle curiosity. The merchant smiles broadly. Indeed he was, he says, his voice now full of warmth and enthusiasm. He believed that an object could hold history within it, that a man's life could be told not by words, but by the things he treasured. Your heart begins to pound a quiet rhythm against your ribs. He has taken the bait. He had a small cabinet of curiosities in this very room, he says, rising from his chair. He passed it on to me. Would you care to see it? Your voice is steady, betraying none of the excitement you feel. "I would be honored," you say. He walks to a small, intricately carved wooden cabinet in the corner of the room, its surface polished to a dark sheen. He takes a small brass key from his tunic and carefully unlocks the cabinet, its old hinges groaning softly. As the doors swing open, a quiet light from the window catches on a dozen small, gleaming objects arranged on velvet cushions. Your eyes are drawn immediately to one of them, a golden chain that is unmistakably royal in its craftsmanship. Your eyes are drawn immediately to the golden chain, a coiled serpent of pure gold resting on a small velvet cushion. It is a work of breathtaking artistry, the craftsmanship so fine it could only have been made by a master royal goldsmith. The links are small and intricate, each one polished to a subtle gleam. You ask Master Thomas if you may examine it more closely, and he gestures to it with a proud wave of his hand. Your fingers, usually so practiced in the careful turning of parchment, now tremble slightly as you lift the delicate chain from its cushion. It feels cold and heavy in your hands, the weight of history palpable. It is a simple chain, without any jewels or extravagant pendants, its beauty resting solely in its elegant, understated design. As you turn it in the light, you notice a small, faint discoloration on one of the links, a subtle darkening of the gold. You lean closer, your heart pounding a frantic rhythm against your ribs, and you see that the discoloration is a small, carefully etched inscription. It is almost invisible to the naked eye, a secret meant only for the person who holds it. The inscription is a single letter, a stylized E that you immediately recognize as the royal cipher for Edward V. The cipher is a symbol you have seen 1,000 times in official documents, on royal seals, and in the ledgers of the royal treasury. Its presence on this chain is an undeniable, unimpeachable fact. This is not just a golden chain, it is a piece of evidence, a silent witness to a truth that has been buried for over 30 years. It is physical proof that the Tudor story is a lie, a carefully constructed fiction designed to deceive the masses. You feel a sudden, overwhelming sense of awe and terror. You are no longer just a clerk transcribing words, you are a man holding the key to a forbidden truth. The chain feels like a live thing in your hands, its very existence an accusation against the crown, its delicate form holding a weight far greater than its physical presence. The room around you fades away, and you are alone with the artifact, the truth of its existence now, a cold and certain thing. You must act as if you have seen nothing out of the ordinary. You compliment the craftsmanship, commenting on the rarity of such a piece, and you carefully place the golden chain back on its cushion. Master Thomas, completely unaware of the inner turmoil you are experiencing, smiles proudly. "My grandfather said it was a family heirloom, passed down for generations," he says, his voice filled with a quiet reverence. He never spoke of its true provenance, but he always said it was our family's greatest treasure. You ask a few more polite questions about the other curiosities in his collection, feigning interest in a silver locket and a small, carved wooden box. But your mind is still consumed by the golden chain, the feel of its weight still lingering in your hands, the image of the royal cipher seared into your memory. You spend a few more minutes in polite conversation, and you feel the need to leave before your thinly veiled curiosity gives way to a dangerous kind of scrutiny. You thank Master Thomas for his time and his hospitality, and you make your excuses, promising to send him a full transcription of the legal precedent as soon as you have finished your work. You leave his home and step back into the bustling streets of Cheapside, the noise and commotion now a welcome distraction from the silent, overwhelming truth you have just uncovered. The world seems different now, The sun a little brighter, the people a little more purposeful. You are walking through the same London, but you are seeing it with new eyes. Eyes that have seen a secret so profound, it could tear the very fabric of the kingdom. The golden chain is not just a relic, it is a clue, a lead in a new and terrifying investigation. It proves that the official story is a lie, but it also proves something else entirely, that the prince's possessions, and perhaps even the princes themselves, survived their time in the tower. It suggests that they were not killed, but moved, and that their personal effects were passed down through a network of loyal, trusted individuals. You walk back to Westminster Palace in a daze, your mind reeling with the implications of the impossible artifact you have just seen. The golden chain of Edward V, a relic of a young prince who was supposedly murdered in the tower, is now a confirmed fact, a tangible piece of evidence that contradicts the entire Tudor narrative. The thought is so shocking, so profound, that it takes your breath away. This is no longer a matter of a single forged confession. This is a vast, intricate conspiracy, a network of loyalists who have kept a dangerous secret for over 3 decades. The merchant's family, who you now know to be staunch Yorkist loyalists, did not just possess the chain by chance, they were entrusted with it. And if they were entrusted with this, what else were they entrusted with? The questions begin to pile up in your mind, each one more terrifying than the last. Were there other artifacts? Were there other families who were a part of this conspiracy? The official records are filled with tales of the prince's deaths, their bodies supposedly buried in the tower, but the golden chain is a silent, undeniable refutation of that entire story. It is a ghost from the past, a piece of truth that refuses to stay buried. You know that you must return to the archives, but with a new and more urgent purpose. You will not be looking for forged documents this time. You will be looking for a paper trail of another kind, a trail of wills, of ledgers, of financial records that will lead you to other families who might be hiding similar secrets. The golden chain has opened a door to a new and terrifying labyrinth, a maze of hidden truths and dangerous secrets, and you know there can be no turning back. You have seen the truth, and you must follow it, no matter how dangerous the path may be. The investigation has just begun. The sheer audacity of the artifact's existence is a cold shock that runs through you. You had already proven that the official story of the prince's murder was a lie, a carefully constructed forgery, but this is something different. This is physical proof. A piece of the past that should not exist, a relic of a boy king whose life was supposed to have ended in a dark, silent chamber. The golden chain is not a written document that can be altered or destroyed. It is a tangible piece of truth, a silent accusation against the Tudor dynasty. The fact that it has been passed down through a wealthy wool merchant's family for over 30 years is a chilling revelation. It means that the conspiracy was not just a political act, a lie told by the crown to secure its power. It was a secret kept by ordinary people, by families who chose to protect a dangerous truth at great personal risk. They have lived with this secret for decades, perhaps passing it down from father to son, a legacy of loyalty to a lost king. You feel a sudden, profound respect for this family, for their quiet, defiant act of preservation. The merchant's grandson, so proud of his family's history, is likely completely unaware of the true significance of the artifact, but his family's secret is a testament to the power of memory and the quiet resistance of those who refuse to let the truth die. The golden chain is a silent, unyielding witness, and its existence is a promise of other secrets waiting to be uncovered. You leave the merchant's home and step back into the sunlit streets of Cheapside. The noise and bustle of the city, a surreal backdrop to your inner turmoil. The sun is warm on your face, but you feel a growing chill in your bones, a sense of having crossed a line from which there is no return. The world around you seems to be made of lies, and you are one of the few who can see through the elegant veneer of deception. The official story of the prince's fate is no longer just a legal document you found in a dusty archive. It is a vast, sweeping narrative that has been told to every man, woman, and child in the kingdom for a generation, and now you know it is all a lie. The existence of the golden chain proves that the princes were not killed in the tower. It proves that their belongings were taken from them and given to people who were entrusted with their care. It is a powerful, silent refutation of everything you have ever been taught. You feel a sense of profound loneliness. You are walking among people who believe in a lie, a beautifully constructed lie, and you are a man who now holds a dangerous, solitary truth. The golden chain is a ghost from the past, a relic of a life that was supposed to have ended abruptly, and its existence is a promise of other, more profound secrets waiting to be discovered. You make your way back to the archives at Westminster Palace, your mind consumed with a new and urgent purpose. You now know what you are looking for. You are no longer searching for forged confessions or altered documents. You are searching for a paper trail of a different kind, a trail that leads to other families who might be hiding similar secrets. You begin with the wills and financial ledgers of those who were closely affiliated with Richard III, seeking out any mention of strange bequests or unexplained payments. The official narrative is a beautiful tapestry, but you are now looking for the loose threads, the small inconsistencies that will reveal the truth. You find the records of Richard III's personal treasury, a meticulous account of his spending during the final months of his reign. The documents are filled with payments to merchants, to goldsmiths, to armorers, and to all the various tradesmen who kept the court running. You know that somewhere in this meticulous record there must be a clue, a hint of a secret payment, a hidden transaction that will lead you to another artifact, another family, another part of the conspiracy. The quiet scratching of your quill is the only sound in the room, the scent of old parchment and mildew, the only comfort. You are a detective, and your case has just begun. The golden chain has opened a door to a new and terrifying labyrinth, a maze of hidden truths and dangerous secrets, and you know there can be no turning back. The golden chain of Edward V is more than just a relic. It is a profound and silent testimony to a truth that has been buried for over 30 years. It is physical, tangible proof that the official story is a complete fabrication. Your mind races back to the confession of Sir James Tyrrell, the document you spent so many sleepless nights poring over. That confession was a clumsy and desperate lie, filled with impossible details and witnesses long dead. But the golden chain is an elegant and unyielding truth. Its existence proves that someone had the motive, the means, and the opportunity to take the prince's possessions after their supposed deaths. And if their possessions were taken from them, it suggests that the boys themselves were not killed, but moved. The chain is a powerful symbol of a successful act of subterfuge, a quiet and defiant act against a new, usurping king. It is a piece of a puzzle, a small fragment of a much larger, more terrifying truth. You feel a profound sense of awe and wonder. The Tudor dynasty has spent a generation trying to convince the world that the princes were brutally murdered, their bodies buried in a dark, silent grave. But the golden chain, a piece of gold no larger than your hand, is a quiet, powerful refutation of that entire narrative. It tells a different story entirely, a story of survival, of a secret rescue, of a life that was meant to be forgotten. You are no longer just a clerk transcribing words. You are a man who has stumbled upon a conspiracy that is still very much alive, a conspiracy that has been kept a secret for over 30 years. The artifact has a voice of its own, a voice that whispers of a lost king and a dangerous forbidden truth. You feel a growing sense of urgency, a need to return to the archives and follow this new, more tangible trail of clues. The documents in your hands are no longer just legal records. They are a map to a hidden past, a trail of breadcrumbs leading to a truth that is both terrifying and exhilarating. The quiet, solitary work of the archives has never felt so dangerous, so thrilling. You make your way back to the archives at Westminster Palace with a new and more urgent purpose. The golden chain has provided you with a powerful new direction for your investigation. You are no longer searching for forged confessions or altered documents. You are searching for a paper trail of a different kind, a trail that leads to other families who might be hiding similar secrets. You begin with the wills and financial ledgers of those who were closely affiliated with Richard III, seeking out any mention of strange bequests or unexplained payments. The official narrative is a beautiful tapestry, but you are now looking for the loose threads, the small inconsistencies that will reveal the truth. You begin with the records of Richard III's personal treasury, a meticulous account of his spending during the final months of his reign. The documents are filled with payments to merchants, to goldsmiths, to armorers, and to all the various tradesmen who kept the court running. You know that somewhere in this meticulous record there must be a clue, a hint of a secret payment, a hidden transaction that will lead you to another artifact, another family, another part of the conspiracy. The quiet scratching of your quill is the only sound in the room, the scent of old parchment and mildew, the only comfort. The ledgers are heavy, their bindings cracked and brittle with age, but you handle them with a new sense of purpose, a quiet determination that was not there before. The sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the dusty shelves. And still you work, your eyes scanning the rows of neat, precise handwriting, searching for a name, a date, a detail that will lead you to another piece of the puzzle. The silence of the archives is no longer a source of peace, but a tense, quiet anticipation. You are a detective, and your case has just begun. Your search leads you to a dusty ledger containing the last will and testament of a family of goldsmiths who were known to be loyal to Richard III. You recognize the name of the family from your earlier work, a name that was quietly erased from many of the official records of the Tudor court. You pull the ledger from the shelf, its heavy leather binding covered in a fine layer of dust, and you unroll the brittle parchment. The will is written in a graceful, flowing script, the ink faded with age. You scan the words, your eyes searching for any mention of a strange or unusual bequest. The will details the transfer of land, the distribution of gold and silver plate, and the inheritance of various family heirlooms. And then you find it, a curious bequest, a small, handwritten note tucked into a corner of the parchment, almost as an afterthought. It is a bequest to the goldsmith's grandson, a small signet ring described as a relic of a past king. The description is vague, and for a moment you feel a pang of disappointment, but you read on, and a different detail catches your eye. The bequest is followed by a small, cryptic phrase, to be held in trust for the one who returns, and to be passed to him with the ring. The words are a puzzle, a riddle from the grave, but you know that they are meant for a purpose. You lean closer, your breath held in your chest, and you feel a shiver of excitement run down your spine. The signet ring is no ordinary piece of jewelry. It is a secret, a clue, a piece of a much larger, more intricate puzzle. The fact that it is a signet ring, a symbol of royal authority, and that it is passed down through a family of goldsmiths who were loyal to Richard III is no coincidence. You are on the right path. You sit in your small, solitary chamber. The signet rings bequest a burning question in your mind. The will states it is a relic of a past king, a vague but tantalizing phrase. The goldsmiths, you know, were a powerful and secretive guild, their trade often intertwined with the most sensitive affairs of the court. Their loyalty to Richard III was whispered of in the halls of Westminster, a quiet dissent that the new Tudor regime would not tolerate. It is no coincidence that a family with such a history would possess an artifact from a king who was defeated in battle. You begin the tedious but necessary work of cross-referencing, pulling out other ledgers and documents that might shed light on this bequest. You search through records of the royal household from the 1480s, looking for any mention of the young prince's personal belongings. You find lists of clothing, of books, of small toys, but nothing of a signet ring. You then turn to the records of Richard of Shrewsbury, the younger of the two princes, who was made Duke of York. His small household accounts are a meticulous record of his daily life, a chronicle of a boy's brief and tragic existence. You find records of the royal jeweler, of payments for small repairs, for new links on a chain, for a small signet ring. You feel a sudden, profound sense of excitement as you realize that the ring in the goldsmith's will is a match for the description in the prince's household accounts. The ring is a symbol of his identity, a physical marker of his life. Its existence in the possession of this family of goldsmiths is a chilling, undeniable truth. It is not just an artifact. It is a ghost from the past, a piece of a life that was supposed to have ended in a dark, silent chamber. The full weight of the discovery settles upon you, heavy and cold as a slab of marble. You have just found a second artifact, one that confirms the survival of a prince. The signet ring of Richard, Duke of York, a piece of gold that should have been buried with him in the Tower, is now a fact, a tangible piece of evidence that contradicts the entire Tudor narrative. The thought is so shocking, so profound, that it takes your breath away. This is not a matter of a single forged confession. This is a vast, sweeping conspiracy, a network of loyalists who have kept a dangerous secret for over 3 decades. You now have 2 pieces of a puzzle, a golden chain and a signet ring, both belonging to the princes, both in the possession of families who were known to be loyal to the Yorkist cause. The existence of these 2 artifacts is a powerful, undeniable refutation of the official Tudor story. It is a testament to the fact that the prince's belongings, and perhaps even the princes themselves, survived their time in the Tower. It suggests that they were not killed, but moved, and that their personal effects were passed down through a network of loyal, trusted individuals. You feel a profound sense of loneliness. You are walking among people who believe in a lie, a beautifully constructed lie, and you are a man who now holds a dangerous, solitary truth. The signet ring is a ghost from the past, a relic of a life that was supposed to have ended abruptly, and its existence is a promise of other, more profound secrets waiting to be discovered. The quiet, solitary work of the archives has never felt so dangerous, so thrilling. You now understand that this is no mere coincidence. The golden chain and the signet ring are not a result of chance. They are part of a deliberate, coordinated effort to preserve the truth. The fact that 2 different families, with 2 different connections to the Yorkist court, both possess a relic from the prince's lives, is a chilling and undeniable pattern. It suggests that the Tudor story is not a simple lie, but a vast and intricate conspiracy, with a network of individuals who kept the secret for decades. You begin to search for a deeper connection between these 2 families, a link that would prove their collusion. You sift through financial ledgers, looking for any payments or transfers between them and Richard III's court. You find a series of small, discreet payments made from Richard III's personal treasury to both families during the year 1483. The payments are listed as services rendered, a vague and convenient term for a secret transaction. You realize that these families were not just loyalists, they were co-conspirators in a grand and successful act of subterfuge. The official story is a beautiful tapestry, but you are now looking for the loose threads, the small inconsistencies that will reveal the truth. You feel a sudden, profound sense of awe and terror. The conspiracy is not just a historical event, it is a living, breathing thing, a secret that has been kept for over 30 years. The artifacts you have found are a trail of breadcrumbs, a map to a hidden past, a testament to a truth that refuses to stay buried. You are a detective, and your case has just begun. You are now convinced that the princes were not murdered in the tower. The evidence you have found, a forged confession, a golden chain, and a signet ring, all point to a single, terrifying conclusion: they were moved to safety. Your mind races back to the details of the past few weeks, the sleepless nights spent poring over dusty ledgers and brittle documents. You now understand the true meaning of your work. You are not just a clerk, you are a historian, an investigator, a man who has stumbled upon a truth so profound it could shake the very foundations of the Tudor dynasty. The quiet, solitary work of the archives has never felt so dangerous. You feel a profound sense of moral conflict, torn between your professional duty to the crown and your personal conviction to uncover the truth. The court of Henry VIII is a dangerous place, and you know that your discovery could lead to your own downfall. But you cannot turn back now. You are too deep into the labyrinth, and the truth is calling to you. The artifacts have a voice of their own, a voice that whispers of a lost king and a dangerous, forbidden truth. You feel a growing sense of urgency, a need to return to the archives and follow this new, more tangible trail of clues. The documents in your hands are no longer just legal records. They are a map to a hidden past, a trail of breadcrumbs leading to a truth that is both terrifying and exhilarating. The quiet, solitary work of the archives has never felt so dangerous, so thrilling. The discovery of the small, discreet payments is the key that unlocks the whole mystery. You now understand that the golden chain and the signet ring were not just random heirlooms, they were part of a deliberate, coordinated effort to preserve the truth. You begin to search for a deeper connection between the merchant's family and the goldsmith's family, a link that would prove their collusion. You sift through financial ledgers from the years 1483 and 1484, looking for any payments or transfers between them and Richard III's court. You find a series of small, discreet payments made from Richard III's personal treasury to both families. The payments are listed under the vague heading of services rendered, a convenient term for a secret transaction. The amounts are small enough to not attract attention, but large enough to suggest a significant act of service. You realize that these families were not just loyalists, they were co-conspirators in a grand and successful act of subterfuge. The official story is a beautiful tapestry, but you are now looking for the loose threads, the small inconsistencies that will reveal the truth. You feel a sudden, profound sense of awe and terror. The conspiracy is not just a historical event, it is a living, breathing thing, a secret that has been kept for over 30 years. The artifacts you have found are a trail of breadcrumbs, a map to a hidden past, a testament to a truth that refuses to stay buried. You are a detective, and your case has just begun. Your investigation now takes a different turn. You have found the artifacts, and you have found the families who kept them. Now you must find the human connection, the whispers and rumors that would have been passed down from one generation to the next. You begin to search for personal journals, for private letters, for anything that would reveal the true story behind the artifacts. You find a small, leather-bound journal that belonged to one of the goldsmiths. The ink is faded with age, the handwriting small and cramped, but you can make out the words. The journal is a personal chronicle of his life, a record of his hopes and fears, his triumphs and his failures. And then you find it, a series of entries from the year 1483, entries that are filled with cryptic references to a heavy duty and a solemn trust. You lean closer, your heart pounding in your chest, and you read on. The goldsmith writes of a relic of a king that has been entrusted to his care, a relic that he must protect at all costs. You realize that the goldsmith is not talking about a piece of gold, he is talking about a child. You feel a sudden, profound sense of awe and terror. The journal is not just a record of a man's life, it is a testament to a truth that has been buried for over 30 years. The artifacts you have found are a trail of breadcrumbs, a map to a hidden past, a testament to a truth that refuses to stay buried. You feel the profound weight of this knowledge settle upon you. The evidence you've uncovered is no longer a collection of isolated facts, but a single, terrifying narrative of deception. The official story of the prince's demise, that they were murdered in the tower, is a meticulously constructed lie. The documents of Henry VII's regime are a facade, a beautiful tapestry woven from threads of deceit. You have found the loose threads, the forged confession of Sir James Tyrrell, the subtle manipulation of court records, and now the indisputable existence of royal artifacts in private collections. But the conspiracy is even wider than you imagined. The journal entries from the goldsmith reveal a secret network of loyal families who kept not only the artifacts but also the truth of the prince's survival. This is a story of a silent, quiet resistance, a secret society of sorts that passed down a dangerous truth from one generation to the next. The goldsmith's journal suggests that the family was not only protecting the signet ring, but also its true meaning, a testament to the fact that the prince was still alive. The goldsmith writes of a heavy duty, a burden of secrecy that he and his family have carried for over 30 years. You realize that these families were not just bystanders, they were active participants in a grand and successful act of subterfuge. The official story is a beautiful lie, but you are now looking at the real, raw truth, and it is a terrifying, beautiful thing. Your hands, once so steady as they transcribe legal documents, now tremble slightly as you reread the goldsmith's journal. The entries from the late 1480s contain references to lesser versions of the artifacts being created, made for the imposter princes that would later appear on the scene. You feel a cold chill run down your spine as you realize the full, terrifying scope of the conspiracy. The loyalists who helped the princes escape did not just sit quietly with their secrets, they were actively involved in an elaborate counter-narrative, a brilliant strategy to confuse the Tudor court and keep the princes safe. You realize that the imposter princes, such as Lambert Simnel and Perkin Warbeck, may have been a part of this conspiracy, a way for the loyalists to test the waters and see if the new king would be fooled. The sheer cunning of the plan is breathtaking. The existence of these lesser artifacts proves that the loyalists were not just reacting to the Tudor narrative, they were actively creating their own, a ghost story of a lost king that was designed to confuse and misdirect. You now have not only proof that the official story is a lie, but physical evidence that confirms the princes were not killed in the tower. The artifacts provide a new direction for your investigation. If these families kept their relics, perhaps they also passed down a different kind of secret. You feel a growing sense of urgency, a need to return to the archives and follow this new, more tangible trail of clues. The quiet, solitary work of the archives has never felt so dangerous, so thrilling. You now have a powerful, undeniable truth in your hands. The official story is not a simple lie, but a vast and intricate conspiracy with a network of individuals who kept the secret for decades. You feel a profound sense of awe and terror. The conspiracy is not just a historical event, it is a living, breathing thing, a secret that has been kept for over 30 years. The artifacts you have found are a trail of breadcrumbs, a map to a hidden past, a testament to a truth that refuses to stay buried. You are no longer a clerk. You are a man who has stumbled upon a conspiracy that is still very much alive. The quiet, solitary work of the archives has never felt so dangerous. You feel a profound sense of moral conflict, torn between your professional duty to the crown and your personal conviction to uncover the truth. The court of Henry VIII is a dangerous place, and you know that your discovery could lead to your own downfall. But you cannot turn back now. You are too deep into the labyrinth, and the truth is calling to you. The artifacts have a voice of their own, a voice that whispers of a lost king and a dangerous, forbidden truth. You feel a growing sense of urgency, a need to return to the archives and follow this new, more tangible trail of clues. The documents in your hands are no longer just legal records. They are a map to a hidden past, a trail of breadcrumbs leading to a truth that is both terrifying and exhilarating. The quiet, solitary work of the archives has never felt so dangerous, so thrilling. The small, leather-bound journal of the goldsmith is a treasure trove of secrets, and you feel the true weight of its contents with every passing moment. Your fingers, stained with ink and age, trace the final entries where the handwriting becomes smaller, more hurried. The goldsmith writes of a new commission in the late 1480s, a secret project that fills him with both dread and a kind of pride. He details how he was asked to create lesser versions of the artifacts, small personal items that would be used to legitimize the claims of the pretenders, the young men who began to appear and claim to be one of the lost princes. He refers to the task as a necessary deception, a way to test the Tudor court's vigilance and a means to secure the true prince's continued survival. You feel a cold chill run down your spine as you realize the full, terrifying scope of the conspiracy. The loyalists who helped the princes escape did not just sit quietly with their secrets, they were actively involved in an elaborate counter-narrative, a brilliant strategy to confuse the Tudor court and keep the princes safe. You realize that the imposter princes, such as Lambert Simnel and Perkin Warbeck, may have been a part of this conspiracy, a way for the loyalists to test the waters and see if the new king would be fooled. The sheer cunning of the plan is breathtaking. The existence of these lesser artifacts proves that the loyalists were not just reacting to the Tudor narrative, they were actively creating their own, a ghost story of a lost king that was designed to confuse and misdirect. This is not just a tale of survival. It is a story of a silent, quiet resistance. You feel the profound weight of this knowledge settle upon you. The evidence you've uncovered is no longer a collection of isolated facts, but a single, terrifying narrative of deception. The official story of the prince's demise, that they were murdered in the Tower, is a meticulously constructed lie. The documents of Henry VII's regime are a facade, a beautiful tapestry woven from threads of deceit. You have found the loose threads, the forged confession of Sir James Tyrrell, the subtle manipulation of court records, and now the indisputable existence of royal artifacts in private collections. But the conspiracy is even wider than you imagined. The journal entries from the goldsmith reveal a secret network of loyal families who kept not only the artifacts but also the truth of the prince's survival. The physical artifacts you have found, the golden chain, the signet ring, are not just treasures. They are a trail of breadcrumbs left by those who knew the truth, a map to a hidden past, a testament to a truth that refuses to stay buried. The artifacts are a ghost from the past, a relic of a life that was supposed to have ended abruptly, and their existence is a promise of other, more profound secrets waiting to be discovered. The quiet, solitary work of the archives has never felt so dangerous, so thrilling. You are now a man who has stumbled upon a conspiracy that is still very much alive. The quiet, solitary work of the archives has never felt so dangerous, so thrilling. You feel a profound sense of respect for the quiet courage of these families who kept their secrets for over 30 years. They did not shout their truth from the rooftops. They preserved it in silence, in the passing down of a simple chain and a signet ring. You realize that while Henry VII was busy fabricating a story of their death, a small, loyal network was quietly keeping the prince's memory and their belongings alive. It is a brilliant and tragic paradox. The king was a master of grand public deception, but the truth was being preserved in the small, quiet acts of loyalty by ordinary people. The official story is a beautiful, if tragic, lie, but you are now looking at the real, raw truth, and it is a terrifying, beautiful thing. The artifacts you have found are a testament to the power of memory, to the strength of a secret that is passed down from one generation to the next. You feel a profound sense of moral conflict, torn between your professional duty to the crown and your personal conviction to uncover the truth. The court of Henry VIII is a dangerous place, and you know that your discovery could lead to your own downfall. But you cannot turn back now. You are too deep into the labyrinth, and the truth is calling to you. The artifacts have a voice of their own, a voice that whispers of a lost king and a dangerous, forbidden truth. The document you hold is not a record of a crime, but a meticulously constructed lie, created after the fact to provide a convenient, tidy end to a politically dangerous mystery. You sit at your desk in the quiet of the archives, the flickering candlelight illuminating the forged script, and you feel a profound sense of awe at the audacity of the deception. This was no hurried act of political expediency. It was a masterful work of historical revision. The very dates, the places, the names of the dead witnesses, all were carefully chosen to create an illusion of truth. The official confession of Sir James Tyrrell was designed to be unassailable, a document that could be presented to the world as the final word on the prince's fate. You think of the scholars and clerks who have come before you, who have read this very document and accepted it as fact. They were not fools. They were simply not looking for a lie. They were looking for the truth, and they found a carefully constructed fiction that mirrored it perfectly. The men who created this document knew what they were doing. They knew that people would believe what they wanted to believe, and they provided a narrative that was both plausible and politically necessary. The Tudor dynasty, still young and fragile, could not afford to have a lingering mystery about the fate of two princes who held a more legitimate claim to the throne. The confession, with its specific, fabricated details and its dead witnesses, was the perfect solution. It put a definitive end to the whispers, silenced the pretenders, and cemented the king's claim to the throne. The document in your hands is a monument to that deception, a testament to the fact that history is not just a record of what happened, but a story told by those with the power to write it. The very paper, the ink, the script, they all feel like a cold and silent accusation. You feel a profound sense of moral conflict. torn between your professional duty to maintain the records of the crown and your personal conviction that you must seek the truth. The knowledge is a heavy burden, a dangerous secret that could cost you your life. To reveal what you have found would be to accuse the Tudor dynasty of forgery and murder, an act of treason so profound it would certainly lead to your execution. You are a simple clerk, a man of parchment and ink, with no power, no allies. The men who created this lie, the men who silenced the princes and buried their story, are still in the shadows, their influence still a presence in the court. You imagine one of Henry VIII's agents at your door, their quiet questions, their cold, impassive faces. The thought is enough to make you feel faint, with a fear so deep it is almost a kind of despair. But an equally powerful emotion begins to rise within you, a fierce and unyielding conviction. The truth is what matters. The truth is what you have always served. To turn away now would be to betray your very soul. You cannot go back to your quiet life, to the comfort of your small, ordered world. That world is gone, replaced by a terrifying new reality. You have seen the lie at the heart of the Tudor dynasty, and you cannot unsee it. You feel a deep and profound sadness for the princes, their very deaths, a political convenience, their memory erased and replaced by a carefully constructed fiction. Your entire professional world has been turned upside down, and you know there can be no turning back. Your conscience will not allow it. You must find more evidence. You must understand the full truth of what happened to the boys. You carefully roll up the forged confession and place it back in its leather sheath. You are a silent, knowing observer of the crown's greatest deception, and with that knowledge comes a terrible responsibility. You lock the documents away, your mind a whirlwind of sleepless worry, realizing you now hold a secret that could threaten the very legitimacy of King Henry VIII and his entire dynasty. As you leave the archives, you pass through the Great Hall of Westminster, now dark and silent. The torches have been extinguished, and the only light comes from the moon, casting long shadows across the empty space. You think of the millions of people who have believed this lie for the past 30 years, and you know that you are now a keeper of a dangerous truth. You walk home in the dark, the cobblestones cold and slick under your feet, your mind racing. You cannot simply go back to your quiet life and pretend this never happened. The thought is impossible. Your sense of duty, your passion for historical accuracy, will not allow you to rest. You remember a small detail from a merchant's will you reviewed a few months ago, a minor document that you had forgotten about until this moment. It mentioned a legacy left to a small church in London, a legacy that included a golden chain said to have belonged to a young prince. You had dismissed it at the time as a sentimental exaggeration, a proud boast from a common merchant. But now, after what you have seen, the words return to you with a new and terrifying significance. A golden chain said to have belonged to a prince. It is a detail that simply should not exist if the princes died in the tower. The princes were stripped of all their possessions, their very existence erased from the royal records. There should be nothing left of them, nothing at all. Yet here is a reference to a golden chain, a small, insignificant detail that speaks a terrible and undeniable truth. The truth, you realize with a sudden, sharp clarity, is not just in the documents that were destroyed or forged. It is also in the forgotten, physical remnants of a past that someone tried very hard to erase. You know now where you must begin your investigation. A paper trail that will lead you not to a grave, but to a hidden collection of impossible artifacts. Your heart pounds in your chest, and you know there is no turning back. You will find out what really happened to the lost princes, and your journey has only just begun. Thank you for joining me on this quiet journey through history. As the last candles of the day are extinguished, you now hold an astonishing truth. The princes were never murdered in the tower. The objects we've uncovered, the golden chain and the royal signet ring, are powerful physical evidence that a secret network of loyalists kept them safe. But this discovery, while profound, only deepens the mystery. Who were these families, and what did they truly know? In the next episode, we will continue our investigation into this vast Tudor cover-up by searching for something even more elusive than hidden relics, the words of the suppressed witnesses. We'll delve into the Star Chamber archives, hoping to find the altered records and secret testimony that could finally reveal what happened to the princes after their escape from the tower. If you are enjoying this gentle journey into history, please like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single part of this unfolding mystery.